Belmont was not real pretty. Not a lot of flow to the game. Uh, I don't think we were mentally really prepared for that ball game, which I don't know if that's, maybe you just don't realize your season's starting, or we weren't prepared. I don't know which it was, but and then they kind of kept the game out of a rhythm type game that we like to do, and so it was kind of a, looked like two heavyweight fighters fighting, and you want to turn it off and wait till the 15th round and watch when it gets serious kind of mentality. But they figured out a way in the second half to make some shots, and we were able to pull away. But I was not pleased at all with our mindset, I guess you could say, for that ball game. Air Force on the flip was different. I thought mentally we were prepared for that game. I thought there was a little pep in our step, and there was some rhythm and flow from the get-go. So I guess it's one of those things we can check off and say, okay, we improved one thing, so let's move on down the list. But I thought there was a lot of questions answered in that ball game, and most of it was from an effort standpoint. But they're a good ball team. They don't quit. They'll get after you. It's just, it's fun playing the service academies, because you just kind of get a different sense of the world when you play those guys.
All right, so we just looked at the schedule. You got pretty rough stretch away. Talking about that.
Probably the next 7 games on our schedule will be the toughest 7 games that I've ever been involved with, back to back to back to back to back to back to back. And I looked up yesterday, or this weekend, Central Arkansas beat Indiana. Purdue is Purdue. Southern Miss hasn't opened yet, but they are supposed to be in the top of their conference, and all the people in their conference say they're the underdog, that nobody really knows what to expect from them. They've got a young lady that was a JUCO, unbelievable All-American, scores about 30 a game. She's incredible. St. Louis was down at Memphis this weekend and lost by 6. We play St. Louis. Memphis beat Belmont by 40. We're going to play Memphis. Indiana State's picked in the top of the Missouri Valley, where that's in this little stretch. So, I mean, it's just, we're going to find out really quickly how good we are over the next, 6 or 7 games. And I probably, if we get a post player that kind of steps up and can take some ownership, I feel good about this stretch, because I think we'll do okay. If we do not find one, it's going to be tough, because you're asking those guards to do a lot in this little stretch of ball game. But if you saw in our games, the last 2 games, post players are playing 8 to 12 minutes. There's 4 or 5 of them that play 8 to 12 minutes, which, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to go, okay, why? Well, they're looking for somebody to step up and claim a 20-minute slot. And right now we hadn't seen it. But if I can take them and take the best of this one and the best of this one and the best of this one and put them all together, we'd be pretty dang good, because you see glimpses from all of them. But this stretch of games, I told Haskins he's fired. He put it together, and it's people asked about, is it tougher than last year's 10-game road swing? And it is. If you look at it, there is not a team that doesn't think that they've got a great shot at the NCAA tournament this year.
Coach, talk about having that together at the beginning of the season, not a lot of time to just kind of like warm up and get in the flow of things with your team, not really having a dominant post player, and then this stretch of your schedule is so crucial to that goal of getting a higher seed. A lot of these games are going to be quality wins down the road when you're looking at seeding in the NCAA tournament, if that is I guess in the future for you guys.
Well, if you're looking at it, you always, at the end of your season, you'll look back and go, what if? Well, last year, if we had pulled off 2 of those 5 big dog wins, so to speak, you're probably at 12. So I think you can be thinking that right now. The problem for us is, as much as we'd like to be saying this is the next step, we still have the same question to be answered about the post play. So it's like, guys, at the end, we're probably going to look back and y'all are going to really wish you had done some things here. But we're not going to worry about it. We've got pressing things, and that's to figure out who's going to be able to anchor us. Whether it was a loss, and she's kind of been overlooked this year with everybody coming back. she was the one that we could always go to if we had to have somebody, put somebody in there to make sure we were okay. You put Wedley in. We hadn't found that yet. So not only are we looking for a post player that's going to anchor us and be good, we're looking for that glue player. So we're looking for more than one thing. And but it, can they do it? Can we find somebody? Probably. But I know they're not worried about seating and anything like that right now. They're worried about, can they stick in a 2-footer and keep the other team from scoring.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we're getting better. I mean, Rakisha was markedly improved from Belmont Air Force. She fouls out in the Belmont game, and the Air Force game she blocks 3 shots. She doesn't foul, and she found a way to get the ball in the hole a couple times. So there's improvement right there. So if we can keep that going, I'll feel a lot better.
Coach, last year when you guys had a 10-game road trip, what did you do to make sure that your players were mentally sharp, throughout that entire stretch? Obviously, they're playing quality teams, but I mean, does it wear on them at all to have to try and get up for all these games, in a row?
Probably not. You probably don't have to worry about that as much because I think the kids know what's about to happen on the floor. You're playing the teams now that if you don't show up to play, it can get ugly in a hurry. And I think in the back of their minds, they know that. There's a reason we want a tough schedule at the beginning. Because like it or not, if you want to go to the NCAA tournament from the Ohio Valley Conference, you're going to win the tournament. I mean, that's what's going to happen. So what do you need to do to win that tournament? Well, the formula that we use, not right, not wrong, but the one that we use, is you're going to play the best teams that you can play out of conference to prepare you when you get back in the conference. We're not sitting in the BCS conference where you schedule as light as you can out of conference, because when you get in the conference, it's going to be murderer's row, and that's where you're going to get your RPIs from inside your conference. Well, ours is kind of the flip. And again, is it the right way to do it? I don't really think there is a right way. It's just kind of what we've chosen. Last year we were lucky. Maybe we can get lucky again. But that's kind of why you see that tough schedule. You're going to see it again next year, and you're going to see it the year after that. And until either it explodes in our face or something else shows that it's a better way to do it, we'll keep doing it that way. But boy, when you look at it, it's not a fun thing to claim. I've tried not to look past Southern Miss and then see what's on the schedule down the road. I'll just tell you what Southern Miss.
Did you not see any scores yesterday that were real shockers to you?
I haven't seen all the scores. To give me what.
I was just looking at Vanderbilt.
I didn't see a Vandy score. My son Matt usually informs me of all the scores, and he gave me about 3 or 4 of them. And I have literally I've not stopped in my office to look at anything. So you're making me a little nervous now. I'll have to go back and look at the scores. Vandy got beat. Who beat them? Cleveland State's not bad, and Vandy has got a kid hurt, or had one hurt. So the problem with that is you beat one of those big teams early, they get mad. They don't.
Not good.
That's not good. We want them all to win. Let them all feel happy and good, and not worry about things.
Now we don't want to bring them.
So.
Coach, talk about just real quick. Jazz and Butler, obviously, the two that kind of anchor, the offense. And I was just looking at it's kind of funny. Butler's actually leading the team in rebounds.
Yeah, figure that out.
Yeah. And granted, she has the minutes and that kind of thing over anybody else, but still to be 5'3" maybe, or whatever she is, and to be leading the team in rebounds, and have actually more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds. Just kind of talk about that starting 5 who does most of your scoring, especially Butler and Jazz, and just kind of their play and how crucial it is to this upcoming run.
Well, there's not any question that every team that wants to play us can have a great scouting report from last year. We're the same team we were last year. That's why these first 3 or 4 games of the year are awful for us as coaches, because teams change from year to year. Ours hasn't changed at all, and we're going to put the ball in Butler and Newsom's hands, and if you stop them, we're probably going to be in trouble. But we'll try to do some things to help them to make that tough on you. But when you've got 2 guards that compete like they compete and play as hard as they play and are as unselfish as they are, you can't help but be pretty good. And when you find a 5'3" kid that's in there tipping balls in over 6'1", if I was a post player, I'd probably really not like Butler. I really would. Because she would go in there and rebound over me sometimes and really make me mad. Because she'll do it. I mean, she just, we need a rebound, guys. Okay. Butler, all right, I'll go get one. You know, she didn't care. We need a bucket here in the paint. Jasmine will go in there and do it. You know, they don't care. So I mean, I think right now, and until we get some other players grow up, we're going to go as those two go. The one that I think right now is playing really, I'm seeing a difference is Jaclissa. There's a little bit of a, and I don't know the right words to use for it, but there seems to be some maturity in her right now, some ownership, some responsibility that I'm seeing out of her that we saw in flashes last year, but after 2 ball games, I've seen a different Jaclissa Hayslip, and that's going to be huge. Taylor Hall and Jaclissa score a lot of points along with the other 2 guards. Taylor tweaked her knee, not sure, she's okay, but don't know how she'll be for Wednesday, cross her fingers. So, I mean, you know, we're a guard-oriented team, absolutely a guard-oriented team. But, you know, as you saw in that Air Force ball game, we throw the ball down in the post, they don't double team. So if I'm a post, I'm never going to get double teamed. I mean, you ought to be getting 20 points a game if I don't get double teamed. Because the guards are getting double teamed, you know. So, but, you know, we're a guard-oriented team. They're going to, if they don't play well in this stretch, poor old Skyhawks, you know. But if they play well, we'll have a shot every night against whoever it is.
You talk about the look you saw in Jasmine's face in the second half yesterday, and you just kind of turned around and said, that's it.
Yeah, there was a stretch, I don't know if you saw it in the second half, where I don't know if somebody made her mad. I don't know if I said something to her, probably not. I don't know if the game went a certain way. I don't know what happened, but there was a stretch where you could tell she wanted the ball, she was going to score, it didn't matter who was in the way. And we didn't change an offense, we didn't call anything, we just basically sat down, shut up, and said, let's see how long she wants to do this. And she starts making shots, and you're just going, wow, ooh, wow. It's like, just keep giving it to her, just keep going, just keep doing what you're doing. And Butler will do the same thing. And whenever you see that look in them, all right, you know, if we get beat and they play that way for 40 minutes, hey, we get beat. But I mean, I hope I can get that look for a while, you know, because the more we have that look, the better shot we got. They're tough to guard, hard to guard.
Butler could one from like 6 feet off the line yesterday.
And that was after she'd missed one and she was mad at herself.
She was so deep.
And now you got to understand, I'd gotten on her for missing that one. I was like, Butler, you got to reward whoever gave her the ball, because it was a good pass, got it to her, she missed it. And so she caught the next one, and she was 6 feet outside, and she was right over by the bench. And she let that joker fly, and I was like, I would have bet my house that it was going in, because she'd missed the previous one. And, you know, there's not a lot of fear in those kids. With their size, they can't be feared.
Right.
You know, if you start being scared, you're already behind the 8 ball. You're going to be scared. You're going to kill yourself.
I think Taylor Hall is not afraid of anybody. But when she went down with her knee, she knew something. She heard something. She was afraid of the knee injury more than she was who was guarding her and how far out she was. She knew.
Well, Taylor has torn ACLs in both knees, and she played a season with a torn ACL before she got it repaired. So that was her initial. I didn't see the play, and so I didn't know. And I tried to get her to tell me, but she couldn't because she was upset. But my initial thing was she knows because she's done this before, and I think it was she definitely, it's like when you sprain your ankle. There's like, I don't know, 3 degrees of spraining your ankle. Well, there's 3. It's also in your knee, but you don't talk about that as much. I think she had a 1st degree, and sorry if this is wrong. It should be a 3rd. I don't know which way you go with it, but 1st degree sprain in her MCL is what Tamika's told me, and I'm sure it probably brought back all those memories of having to deal with the ACL and the rehab and what that means. And she's probably worried about that as much as she was anything else. But she's okay, and I don't know if she'll play Wednesday, but that's just because it's November. If this was March, she could play Wednesday. I don't know if I will let her play Wednesday, but she's ready.
Tell they all have a passion. They all want the ball. They want to be out there.
They know if they don't, they're going to come sit over and cheer with me. All right, thank you guys.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Appreciate it.